You look at this whole generation, face tats, the dreads.
This album proved his influence.
It's not about the money, it's not about the fame, it's not about the likes, any of that shit.
I think it was more in depth than any, previous Wayne project that we've got.
This is exactly what's needed right now, because I feel like the level of hip hop has dropped a bit.
What's up, geniuses? Welcome back to For the Record. I'm your host, Rob Markman. Now it's a big hip hop weekend. We got a new Logic album. We were supposed to get a new Kanye album. It's Monday. Where's it at? I don't know. But we got the long-awaited Carter 5, so you know we had to bring a panel of guests to come and celebrate, talk about this Carter 5, what we love, maybe what we didn't love, and just get into it all, man. So first up, we have my man from Shade 45. He has all the shows on Shade 45. We out here, the 10.5 countdown. The First Play album specials, my man Gray Rizzy, man. Welcome to For the Record.
Thanks for having me.
Nah, man, thank you for coming. Our next guest, man, I'm up all the time, all night. So I always listen to this guy on Hot 97 from midnight to 5 a.m. He also has his own show on Dash Radio. Mr. HipHop Mike, man, welcome to For the Record.
To be here, bro. Thanks for having me.
Okay, and last but not least, we always got to represent for the ladies. She has hustle like no other, okay? She has her own show, the Ivy Rivera podcast show, and she's going to be a star of BET's new show, Hustle in Brooklyn, premiering on 10/16 after the BET Hip Hop Awards. Miss Ivy Rivera.
Yeah, what's up,
Welcome.
Rob?
What's up?
Peoples? Happy to be here.
Cool, man. Nah, everybody's good. Everybody feel good?
Oh, yeah.
I feel
Ready, man.
Okay, yeah. I got a lot of good hip hop to listen to this weekend. I feel great. Before we get into Wayne, and I want to get into Wayne, I don't want to spend too much time on this, but we thought when I called you guys, I said, hey, we're going to talk about Wayne and we're going to talk about Kanye. They're both dropping new albums. How long did you wait up for the Kanye album, Mike, before you decided that it's not coming?
I gave up right away. I was like, whenever it comes, it's coming. That's it. Like, I can't wait for this man anymore.
Man, y'all, great.
Sorry.
I mean, I was doing some work. I was getting ready for next week, plus I was watching SNL, so I gave it till about 3 a.m. And then after that, I was like, this ain't happening.
This Yanni album, the Yanni mini disc isn't coming.
Not happening.
Ivy, did you see SNL?
I didn't see, but I definitely saw the recap, and I saw what I needed to see, and I was just like,
Sparkling or still? Which one did you?
I mean, I'm definitely a still kind of girl that's sparkling. Yeah. I feel it like the bougie thing, but
I feel like it's that Calabasas shit got him. Nah, it was weird though to see, right? Like, Kanye dressed up as a water bottle. Like, I feel like even Lil Pump was just like, what the fuck are we doing here?
It was such a parody.
Right.
A lot of people couldn't identify the recognition between it, but if you clearly listen to the song, it's him making a joke out of it, like he's trying to be funny, but then it's like, you can't be funny when you're talking about things that you're talking about that's like really thought-provoking and controversial. Like, we're just looking at you like, what's going on? It's a lot of lost sauce. Yeah. It's a lot of lost
sauce. It's
sauce.
Impossible to make sense of. Like, I don't even know what to think of this anymore. Like, you can't turn them from music or opinions.
I got thoughts. Cooning.
Right.
Like I'm looking at it and I'm saying to myself, yeah, maybe he's trying to make light of stuff, right? But what I did do after I saw that SNL and I was waiting for the album, I went back to all the other albums. And I was thinking to myself, like, yo, I don't think we'll ever get back to this.
Right.
Like, whether it be College Dropout, Graduation, Late Registration, My Dark Twisted Fantasy, even 808s. Like, and I'm sure there's a couple I'm missing, Pablo. To me, in my personal opinion, we'll never get back to that.
For me, Kanye's strength, and I agree with you, or his superpower, he feel like he always got off by bucking the system, right? So when it was College Dropouts, it was polos and backpacks. When, it was Dipset and G-Unit, and everything was super hard and alpha male. And he came in with something more provoking. He was more of a Talib Kweli type who broke into the mainstream, right? By the time we get to 808s, he's singing and doing the auto-tune thing and taking what T-Pain gave us to the next level. Rappers weren't supposed to do that. Then there was still a clear division, and he kind of broke that system. It feels like he thinks he's just breaking another ceiling, but it's like, bro, you're running into the wrong room now. Like, it's ridiculous at this point.
Maybe if that ceiling's in the sunken place, and he keeps saying like he's out of it and stuff. I'm waiting for the point where Ye is like I was just fucking with y'all.
I think we passed
And
that.
I think we're past
think
that.
that's
I don't
what
think I don't think we're ever going to get back to that.
I think we've all accepted the fact that like Kanye is just in a different place. And it's hard for us to accept because we love Kanye so much. You know, like he is a part of our growth, you know, especially like for me, like there's certain albums that resonate with all of us. And we look to him as we put him on such a pedestal that when we see anybody that we put on a pedestal act in a way that we just don't understand, we're just like sitting there with frowns on our faces, you know? So it's like, we don't understand, so we get angry, but then it's just like, sometimes it's not for you to understand. It's just like, what the hell's going on?
Right.
I'm thoroughly confused.
And if we're being real, in the midst of all this, musically, this is the weakest that the music has been. Like, so it's not even like we're getting the Antics and getting amazing music. It's like, you know, Ghost Town, I think, is probably the best song to come out from Kanye this year. To see him perform that on SNL was dope at the end with Cudi. But then when he goes into his speech about being bullied for wearing the MAGA hat, I'm like, what's going through Cudi's mind? What's going through Ty Dolla Sign's mind? Like, everybody standing on that stage.
They was like,
Yeah, they was bopping their head though. Like I was still surprised to see Cudi bopping his head to that because
you gotta stay in character.
but still, you can't stand next to this. Like how?
You know what that is? I think and I had a conversation with Common, and I know sometimes we have conversations that everybody else isn't privy to. Right. Whoever's in that circle, they're having conversation that goes way beyond the 2-3 minutes that we see, and they're kind of probably shaking their head and nodding like, all right, I understand what you're saying because I've had the 4 hours or days conversations with you. We're getting shit and we're like, so you're saying this and for what? Like, nah, man, I can't rock with that.
Nah, I feel you.
And there was people, I'm looking at the people behind and they're shaking their head. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Come on, man.
Yeah, and then some people were just like, why am I here?
You don't know what to do. Like I'm on SNL, he's bugging. But listen, at the end of the day, we came here to talk about Kanye's album. There is no album. If it comes, maybe we'll care. At this point, I'm cool if it don't come. I'm straight. But we got to give props to Lil Wayne, man. Carter 5 is finally here.
Yes.
Give it up. Like, I feel like, I feel like everybody's rooting for Wayne because we've seen what that man fought through to get this album out. You know, he was in purgatory with Cash Money, the legal dispute, the money dispute, and it's like a star of Lil Wayne's magnitude. No artist should have to go through that, but a star of Lil Wayne's magnitude after everything he put in shouldn't have to go to that. So the Carter 5 arrives Thursday at midnight. We all had the weekend to listen to it and assess. What were your first thoughts, Gray, when you heard Carter 5?
First thoughts I thought was consistency. I thought about him being able to give us different parts of Wayne. Obviously, being from Uptown Uproar automatically was my ringtone.
Did you Harlem Shake?
You know what? I'm a little older now, so just the shoulder industry.
Uproar is the new Showtime song. Everybody on the train going off.
You still ride the train, Ivy? I didn't even know. I know you on BT now.
I Uber everywhere, but sometimes I gotta be humble.
It's ringing off in the Uber too. Don't worry, I'll be Ubering everywhere. I was knocking it.
So Uproar, which samples the same beat as G-Dep, Special Delivery, the infamous Harlem Shake gif. If you don't know, if you see the Harlem Shake gif on your timeline, it comes from that. Wayne went into that. But he also rhymed over that before with Cole on Green Ranger on the mixtape day, so he revisited that. So that was an automatic standout for you.
Yeah, it was automatically. And the fact that I liked, he kind of kept with like that whole Carter series where, you know, it's 20 plus songs. You're looking at over an hour of music. You got stuff to digest and you got stuff to actually hear. And, you know, there was a lot of people who came and were on the record feature-wise. Right. So I was like, you know, this is a good body of work for us to go ahead and, you know, really look at and listen to.
Mike, what stood out for you when you heard the Carter?
I mean, honestly, just like how in depth he went with, you know, his life and what's been happening over the past couple of years. I think it was more in depth than any, you know, previous Wayne project that we've got, and really, you know, got to see another side of Wayne that was a little bit wiser, I feel like, in my opinion. But I enjoyed the features a lot. And to be honest, I sat with it a couple of times. One time reading the lyrics to certain songs and looking at the lyrics and trying to dissect them with the actual records is like, there's a lot of substance. Like 4 days sitting with it is not enough.
Right. On Genius.
On Genius, of course.
Because where else you going to go? That's what I'm saying.
There's another place to go for lyrics?
Ivy, what's good?
Well, Shake, man, let me tell you something. This album means a lot to me in so many ways. Like, my pure prime teenage years was like Carter 3, you know, like he was like one of my favorite rappers growing up, you know, as well as like Kanye, like that was like that era. So this album proved his influence. Like you would listen to him like, oh my God, it sounds like everything else. And it's like, no, everything else sounds like him. You know what I'm saying? Like in his song, Let It Fly. No, yeah, it is Let It Fly. At the end, he goes, the best rapper alive. He's always been saying that. But at the end of that song, you couldn't even debate. You was like, yeah, yeah,
When
absolutely.
you listen to a lot of the lyrics, you're hearing a lot of stuff that he used to do. Well, you know, it's been 5 years, say 7, 10 years ago that you're still hearing right now. I forget the name of the song where he's like, you know, if it wasn't for Weezy.
Right.
You know,
Dedicate. So
and
you're talking
that-
about Dedicate where he samples 2 Chainz.
Right.
Yeah, when you like
You hear that screwed in the back and you know the face tats and they wouldn't be speaking like this. Like,
Right.
His influence is still shining.
he says it, I want to, because, and that's dope that he's so aware, because if you look at, and I think if you ask the Little Uzi Verts, Young Thug has always said, regardless of his trolling, that he was going to drop the bar to 7. He's always said that he was heavily influenced by Wayne. You look at this whole generation, face tats, the dreads, the singing, the sing-songy, the flows, the still rapping. So when he says, I started this shit, you just a part of the shit, I'm the heart of the shit, and the heart doesn't skip. Like, on Dedicate, it's an amazing.
Listen, lyrically, you can't even, just listening to his verse and Let It Fly, I'm stuck on that song because I was just like taken back a bit because he was blacking. He was mine, everything with a mine. I was just like, damn, like you really got a whole glossary up in here.
Right.
Like it's crazy. And it's just like, this album just showed his versatility as an artist, and it really took you through a whole like era of Wayne. Like Open Letter was, wow.
It's so crazy, like the substance in it, because I remember, you know, not so long ago, the time when Lil Wayne was first, like really, you know, emerging and becoming like an artist that people were like, oh no, this is not what hip hop should be. This is Lil. There's a lot of swag to it. It wasn't like
he
the
was on,
bars.
He was on the cover of Double XL that he had to wear that shirt that said I am hip hop, because there was criticism saying that he wasn't hip hop.
And now it's like, it's just undeniable. And like the fact that he complemented it with so many bars and like the storytelling, it really shows that, you know, these artists, there's a lot of potential for them to evolve. Like, you know, it makes me think about just the state of music now too, honestly.
Speaking of evolution though, I saw Wayne something that to me wasn't always a strength of his, and he has many, is like this storytelling. And I feel like him and Kendrick got on Mona Lisa and got into like a B.I.G. mode level of storytelling.
I'm not really big with violence, you know, unless it has to be done. But
Spoken like a true uptown soldier.
It's like one of my favorite big
That's what
B.I.G.
these
songs is I Got a Story to Tell, right? And when I heard Mona Lisa, I'm like, oh man, he going here with it. Like this is dope. And then to hear the other side of the person through Kendrick, I was like, yo man, this is exactly what's needed right now, because I feel like the level of hip hop has dropped a bit, but that's going to come with growth. Just because you have a popular song doesn't mean it's the dopest song, right? So when you have these two going back and forth, you're like, not even back and forth, but back to back, you're like, this is the bar that's needed to kind of show we need to get up here, or we need to do this. The other thing that I wanted to point out when it comes to Wayne is that there was a lot of people in hip hop that they weren't necessarily considering themselves rock stars. And now you're starting to see that a lot in hip hop too, to the extent of where I'm noticing a lot of artists don't even want to be called hip hop. They want to be
That
called
bothers me.
pop. It does bother
That bothers the hell out of me.
Like,
That,
why would you
hip hop
say
not
that?
enough?
Why would you say it? Is it not enough for you? Are you ashamed of it?
Right.
Because this is where your core is. So I'm not saying that's Wayne. He didn't do that. But it's a trend that he started, and I
That
think,
rock star aesthetic.
and then people were like, "Yo, let me get on this bandwagon. This is
Leather
how it's
So
supposed
Soft.
to be
He
done."
knew like 2 notes on Leather So Soft, rolled that out,
And he
the
did
Lollipop
it.
video, and then his rock albums.
Yeah, he did a whole rock album.
But that's the thing though, at least Wayne actually went and tried to do a rock album. I feel like a lot of people are with it just for the aesthetic. Like like a lot of the kids that call
But I
themselves
think,
rock stars.
again, when that rock album came out, we kind of laughed and said it was whack. It wasn't a great album at all. It wasn't very good. But I feel like that album influenced a low key, while we were maybe old enough. I think kids who were younger, more impressionable, really influenced who they wanted to be as an artist, because Wayne was so much larger than life. Mike and Ivy, I want to get to you too on this. But specifically, both you and Gray work at radio, and Gray has said something to the point that sometimes it isn't always about the most popular song, but the dopest song. A song like Mona Lisa, I mean, how long is that? Is that like, it's like, I feel like it's like 5-6 minutes.
Yeah.
Can that fly on radio, and does it matter?
I think that at
Mike can make it
points-
work.
Yeah, I
Mike
think at
can make
points
it
it could
work.
work. Honestly, like I mean, it depends because I think people do want to hear that, but it might not be the record for driving your kids to school. So it's like obviously there's gonna be a time and a place for any record from any album, but it depends, who's playing and what time they're getting it on. For me, I wouldn't want like a record like that playing in the morning, like early morning, but you never know. Ebro's crazy too.
Does this give you enough mix? Because for me too, the dopest hip hop albums, and going back on what Great is such an excellent point. A lot of times our favorite songs wasn't even the single. And the dopest hip hop albums had, I look at all these albums on the wall, had mixtures of great singles, but I'm looking at Mace, Harlem World, or Capital Punishment, like, we all know the records. But what were like the joints that you really loved and live forever? Does
feel
Carter
like-
5 have enough of that?
Absolutely. There's going to be a lot of songs on the Carter 5 that probably won't make it to radio, but I feel like radio, although it is a voice, it shouldn't deter or make or dictate, that's the word I'm looking for. It shouldn't dictate what you like, like there's so much substance and it speaks to so many levels of the human brain. Right? Like it touches like a real soft side, it touches like a turn up side, it touches like a real substance side. So it really is up to you and where you are, like the phase you're in your life to really digest it the way you want to digest it. But like radio is a good leader in saying like, here's a snippet of what you're gonna get from Wayne, but it's up to you to really unfold what Wayne is trying to like translate,
I mean, one of the things in this album, and we touched on it earlier, I think this is the most personal I heard him over like in a concentrated, over the course of a project. Like Wayne has been personal before, but like I felt like this album, and now I know why he fought for it so hard. I mean, we listened to the intro and his mom and Miss Cedar crying. Like, dog, I got emotional. Like I got choked up. And then, what's funny is no kind of secret, right? His mom is crying on the very intro. And then the first song we hear is Don't Cry. Like he's with XX, he's talking to his mom, right? Like he's just kind of answering his mom. And then it ends with Let It All Work Out. And there's this big revelation about Wayne. We all heard the story about Wayne, what we thought was an accidental shooting when he was about 12 years old. And now he's saying that it wasn't so accidental. What were your guys' thoughts? How did that start there?
I mean, in this album, he's definitely touched on it more than he has ever, to me. He's been very vulnerable in the sense where he talked about being suicidal, and it's eye-opening, and it just shows that what is it? I think it's Open Letter. He talks about like, what is my meaning or something like that. And I'm just like, if you're not listening to your own album, Wayne, like your meaning is bigger than you. Sometimes we don't understand our purpose, like we work so hard, we do so much, and it's just like we feel like we're not getting what we want out of life. But it's not about getting what you want, it's about being who you are and being that inspiration. Like Wayne is such a huge inspiration, and when you're one of those type of people, you're gonna be faced with so much adversity. You know what I'm saying? They always say the biggest battles is always given to the strongest soldiers, and he's one of those people. And it's just like, you appreciate Wayne for who he is after listening to this album.
I just want to give the lyrics real quick because it really, I mean, for an artist that we've seen all his life, and this story kind of seems like it gave him purpose for being, or a second chance on life, for it to come out now in this detail is amazing that he held back for so long. I just want to give the lyric, and it's a lot here. I found my mama's pistol where she always hides it. I cried, put it to my head and thought about it. Nobody was home to stop me, so I called my auntie, hung up and put the gun up to my heart and pondered. Too much was on my conscience to be smart about it, too torn apart about it. I aimed where my heart was pounding. I shot it and woke up with blood all around me. It's mine, I didn't die, but I was dying. God came to my side and we talked about it. He sold me another life and he made a profit.
That's so deep.
Bars,
it makes you so emotional. Like you want to give Wayne a hug and be like, it's gonna be all right.
If you don't hear lyrics like that and you don't get chills, then I don't know how if you really love this thing that we call hip hop, right? There's another line, I'm not sure it's in that, but where he's saying, for the most part, like, yo, I got the second chance, and now I gotta do something with it. For the last 5 years, we've been seeing him what seemed like suffering. Let's not forget, it's Young Money, Cash Money. So he got two thoroughbreds in Drake and Nicki. So he had the chance to kind of sit back and play out everything in the court of law when it comes to Cash Money. But I feel like even bigger than the money, even bigger than the deals, it was he had to get this project out, Carter 5. Just for himself.
Feels like legacy. I mean, the other thing, not only the court battles that he went to, but in between all of this, I mean, through the years, we've seen him in and out the hospitals with seizures. Wayne has seen very, I'm not a human being, right? Has seemed very human to us all of a sudden, and it's scary. I remember a few years back when TMZ had wrote the story that he was being read his last rites, and thankfully that wasn't true. But like these were the scares that we were getting, that we would lose one of the greatest artists ever.
I personally think that just that record, Let It All Work Out, being like the close to the Carter series is so like amazing because, it's such a main theme to his life, let it all work out. Where a lot of other people have tried to like control their careers or talked about like how much work, where Wayne's put in the work, so much of his life is left to like just let it work out.
Let me ask a question, because we gushed a lot about this album. And I want to be real with it. Are there things that we didn't like about the album, or are there things that we didn't understand or haven't sunk in yet?
There was a conversation I had, and I'm sure Mike and Ivy has had it too, where it's like, are people going to even care at this point? Yeah. With the amount of time that's gone past, with just the growth of hip hop overall, so many different artists, the saturations out there, are people even going to care? I think fans are going to appreciate an album that's an hour and 28 minutes long. 20 plus songs, you know what I'm saying? I don't know about everybody.
Right.
So if there's anything that you're gonna probably take away from it, maybe the length of it. But I think this is for his fans, man.
This is his longest album.
Yeah, this is for his fans.
There was some things that I didn't understand, like the relationship records, Perfect Strangers, Mess, What About Me, Dark Side of the Moon. I was like, I don't know if I need all of those. Yeah. But
that might be the song that makes radio.
What, Dark Side of the Moon? Yeah. We're gonna talk about that in a second.
That might be the song that makes radio.
I hope not.
I don't know if I needed all of those relationship records, but then it made me question, is it something that I'm not hearing? Because everything else seems so special and close to Wayne's story. Is there a real relationship, or is there a real heartbreak that he's going through, that because we might not know who he's dating at the moment, or the other women that he's dated throughout this course of time, who's he actually talking about? And maybe if we knew the real life situation, at least for me, these records might mean more. Because right now they just sound like relationship records, because I don't have the whole picture yet.
Well, I feel like it just conveys his versatility as an artist, and he's like a great rapper, but he could also be a great, sapper. That's what I call him, like a singing rapper. Like he's really good at doing both. So I feel like for many reasons of this album, one of them was to prove a point. Like he's good at anything that he does.
I think in the promo video too, like leading up to the album in the days before, him saying that whether you like it or love it, just enjoy it, really set the standard for me of like what I was gonna listen to. Because going into it, I'm like, what are we gonna get? It's been years, we don't know where he's at mentally. But like just thinking of it as like, he just wants you to enjoy it. It's not something to overthink, but just rather sit with. It really made a difference when I listened to it.
It's probably the biggest point right there that Mike is making, because he's been like that over the years, going back to the Rock album, just being able to create without boundaries, right? It doesn't always work, but at least you have the balls to go ahead and do it. I think with this project, it's all about your just experiencing it, enjoying it for what it is. And we're going to be listening to this album probably. We'll probably talk about songs next year sometime in January. Like, yo, wait a minute, did you hear that? Blah, 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 blah. That's how much he gave in it.
Was it weird for anybody that Drake wasn't on the album? Were we expecting to hear Drake on this? I was expecting to hear Drake on this album.
Yeah, I mean, I heard a line about Drake, I felt like, but...
Right. What was it, the God's Plan line?
Yeah, there was, goddamn, it's something but God's Plan. God, he turned the goddamn into God's Plan.
Yeah.
I mean, Drake was a goddamn in a lot of ways.
Right.
But, I mean, who knows? I'm really curious, honestly. I was hoping that there would be more about Drake because I'm curious to what Wayne, how he feels about Drake's success in the past. 6 years, he's become the biggest in the game. So it's like, Wayne formally holding that position in a lot of ways and being the protege of Lil Wayne. It's like, how do you feel about that? Your protege, glowing up like that.
Or maybe he didn't have Drake on the album on purpose just to show that he didn't need any like poppin' artist that is here right now to.
But he had Travis and Nicki.
Yeah,
Not
even
that it's
Nicki,
Drake,
even the Nicki joint.
But Nicki
I
was
wanted Nicki
singing,
rapping. Like I thought Nicki was gonna come out and they was gonna rap. Nicki, I feel like served another purpose.
I definitely
on the
wanted
album.
stronger Nicki on the album.
I think when it comes to this album, this is Wayne, and this is the setup for everything that you're going to see with Young Money in the next, probably first quarter 2019.
Was it worth the wait?
Yeah,
I think so.
I think so. And I wanted to point that out. I was like, for a lot of artists, they make a great collection of albums. They sit out and then all of a sudden, like 10 years later, they want to come out with another album, and it's frightening because it's gonna ruin, that whole momentum. Because sometimes, if not a lot of times, when artists come back out of the woodworks with an album, is not as great as their past work. And that was one of my fears with Wayne. I was like, oh God.
Especially with this series. It wasn't like he was coming with another
Yeah, I
human
was
being
like,
album or
please
the Carter
don't
series.
let me down. And for that reason, I was just so blown away with everything that I was hearing. I was like, yes. I
What's
was
your favorite?
relieved.
We're gonna go around too. Was it worth the wait is a question, but also, what's your favorite in the Carter series and where does this rank?
My favorite in the Carter series?
Yeah.
Mine is Carter 3, period. Like, hits front to back. But, and what was the second question?
Where does this one rank with all the Carter?
This will go, to me, it's 3, 2, 5.
Okay. All right, I respect it.
3, 2, 5.
Right, worth the wait, favorite in the Carter series,
I'm
where
gonna
does
have
it
to
rank?
agree with Ivy. I think Carter 3 is really it for me. I will say though that Carter 3 is the one that really made me fall in love with like Wayne's music, but the Carter 5 I think is close second just because of how much it made me respect him overall as an artist. So yeah, I have to go 3 and then 5, maybe 2 and third.
3, 5, and then
Maybe.
2. Okay.
Yeah.
I think ranking wise, definitely 3. Because even though his pants are falling off in front of the fucking car, that's where he put his big boy pants on. Like he came into his own within that album.
As a bar.
Yeah.
I see what you did there,
Yeah, you
Greg.
saw what I did? Yeah. Just do a little bit. When it comes to the ranking of it, I would say 3. I'm gonna switch it up. I'm gonna say 3, 4, and 5 in order.
4 is underrated
4
as
is
fuck to me.
underrated,
Like,
yeah.
bars on this shit was crazy. He had joints on 4.
Yeah. Like I felt like 1 and 2, that's him maturing. 3,
Right.
bang, we here.
Right.
But it's for me ranking wise, 3, 4, then 5.
For me, I'm gonna go 2. Carter 2 is what made me a Lil Wayne fan forever. When he dropped Hustler's music, I was just at a place in my life that song meant so much to me. I would go hours with just that one song on repeat. So 2 holds a special place in my heart. I'm gonna go Carter 2, Carter 3, Carter 5, in that order.
So we kind of on the same page.
Yeah. But it's dope, man. I do applaud him just for having purpose. It seems like, because the one thing I respect too is that when everybody was trying to guess what the cover was, the album cover was the cover that he had put out originally all those years ago. Like even Mannion didn't know. If you looked at Jonathan Mannion, the photographer on his Instagram was like, I don't know which cover they're using, but I know it's gonna be great. And he used the cover with him and his mom that he always had, which seemed to me that he always had a purpose for this album. And while a lot of songs remain unchanged, because he wasn't trying to make a song for the times, he was trying to really, really tell the story, which I appreciate.
If there's anything that I really think about this album, I think it's a passion project, right? It's not about the money. It's not about the fame. It's not about the likes, any of that shit. This is about his purpose, his passion, like, yo, I'm back and I'm in a good space, and hopefully we get to continue to see that going forward.
Word. I really enjoy seeing him just being so involved with the family. Like even after the project dropped, the fact that he's spending the time with the kids and like.
You seen his
I
son
love it,
doing the
man.
Michael Jackson move to Uproar?
Yo, he
that
has
was
some
hard.
swag. That's like a Lil Wayne right there.
Yeah, that's dope.
I mean, I agree with with Rizzy, and I think that this is like a message for a lot of artists to not let what's going on with everybody else to infiltrate what you got to do. You know, like let your music speak, let your heart speak, because this is where it comes from. Like hip hop was a place of a cry of pain and joy, and we don't want to lose that. I feel like he just brought it back to that place that it started from.
With
So,
some bars. You gotta
with
get
some
with
bars.
some
Went with a
bars.
whole lot of bars. Well, I thank all of you for coming. Like, this is dope for me because at the end of the day, we're all hip hop fans, just like you guys watching out there. And we have the same discussions here that y'all have with y'all friends, with y'all groups online. So hip hop is in the great space. We didn't get the Kanye album, but we good. Trust me. We got Wayne. Yeah, we got Logic. We got Kevin Gates. Chief Keef dropped one. Bad C, my man Bad C dropped one. There's a lot of new music out here right now. If you love the Carter, great. If you don't, go find something you love and support hip hop, man. But I thank you guys for being on the show. Hope to have you back soon. This is For the Record. I'm Rob Markman. See you next week.